My neighbor Karen reported me to the police for every little thing, so I made sure she could never make another call again. This woman had the police on speed dial and treated 911 like her personal customer service hotline. Last month, Karen got the Johnson family fined $500 because their daughter's lemonade stand operated without a business license. She'd called the police claiming illegal food sales, and technically, she was right. The cops had to shut down the little daughter's fundraiser for her cat's surgery, while Karen stood there citing health code violations. The officers looked disgusted, but had to write the ticket. There was another time where I watched 2 squad cars surround Mr. Yang's house at dawn. Karen stood in her driveway, gesturing wildly at his front yard, where the 78-year-old was doing Tai Chi. "He's making gang signs," she shrieked at the officers. "It could be terrorism." Poor Mr. Yang spent an hour in handcuffs while cops verified he was just exercising. Each time she wore that same satisfied smirk, the kind that only comes from a lifetime of getting away with absolute nonsense. My breaking point came when I found her white Lexus parked inside my garage. I confronted her in the driveway, where she stood watering her roses with an expression that screamed, "I dare you to challenge me." So I asked, "Do you know whose car that is in my garage?" She didn't even hesitate. "Yeah, it's mine." She said it like I'd asked about the weather. "You just parked in my garage?" She scoffed. "It was empty. You weren't using it. What's the big deal?" I gripped the bridge of my nose, trying not to lose it. "Karen, it's illegal. You're trespassing. Move your car." She rolled her eyes. "I will, but I have errands to run. I'll get to it later." "Later? No, you'll move it now." She let out an exaggerated sigh. "I can't. I'm going out with friends. Just be a good neighbor and let it be." With that, she walked into her house and shut the door in my face. Then she actually asked if I could check her tire pressure while her car was in there. I stood there, processing the audacity. This lady really thought I was Jake from State Farm, there to help with whatever she needed. I could have called the cops or had her towed, but her smug dismissal flipped a switch in me. 3 days. That's when I noticed my flight to Costa Rica on the kitchen calendar. 2 weeks of beaches and peace. And that's when the idea hit me. Her Lexus was still sitting in my garage like she owned the place. She wanted to leave it there? Fine. I walked out and looked at my garage. It had locks. Good ones. The kind you'd use before leaving for vacation. I simply locked up my garage like I would before any trip. I wasn't doing anything wrong, just securing my property before leaving town. If her car happened to be trapped inside, well, that was the price of trespassing. A day into Costa Rica, I sat on the beach with my pina colada, waiting for angry texts about her trapped car, but my phone stayed silent. No threats, no voicemails, nothing. By day 2, I was genuinely confused. Then my phone rang. Local police department. The sergeant informed me there'd been an incident at my property. My stomach dropped. He explained they'd responded to a welfare check at my residence yesterday. My neighbor had been found locked in my garage for approximately 2 days. I sat up so fast I knocked over my drink. "What?" He said it appeared I'd closed the garage door while she was inside. She claimed she'd been retrieving something from her vehicle when the door came down. She'd been treated for dehydration and panic attacks. She was physically okay, but threatening to press charges for false imprisonment. The truth hit me like lightning. She must have gone back to her car that morning, probably while I was loading the Uber. I closed the garage door with her inside it. I'd accidentally trapped Karen in my garage for 2 days. The sergeant mentioned she was claiming I'd given her permission to park there. I explained it was a lie. She'd broken into my garage. I told him to check with my neighbors about her history of false reports. I had no idea she was in there when I left. There was muffled conversation in the background. Then he said they'd need a full statement when I returned. But he added something interesting. They'd had about 30 calls from her this year alone. The boy she'd accused of substance dealing last month was his nephew. They knew exactly who they were dealing with. When I returned home 2 weeks later, I noticed something was missing from the streets. Turns out the police department had officially flagged Karen's address. After crying wolf for 3 years, then getting trapped in the exact kind of situation she always invented, her credibility was shot. She called them the following week about suspicious activity at the Martinez house. They were having a quinceañera. The dispatcher took the report and promptly filed it in the ignore pile. I watched from my window as she stood in her driveway, phone pressed to her ear, that familiar shrieking voice carrying across the street. But no squad cars came, no sirens, nothing. She called back 3 more times that day. Still nothing. By the 4th call, she was screaming so loud I could hear every word through my closed windows. "This is an emergency. They're having a party with music." Her face had turned that special shade of purple she reserved for maximum outrage. When the police still didn't show, she stormed into the middle of the street, waving her arms at passing cars like a deranged traffic cop. She marched to the Martinez house herself, pounding on their door, demanding they cease and desist. But they just turned the music up, and she could do nothing about it.